We're excited to have our 2014 State of the Association today by Mr. Carr, but first I'd like to bring up our COP Chair, Dr. Les Purse.
Good afternoon, everyone. You know, as chair of the COP, our executive committee meets every other month with the staff on our strategic directions. And I was reflecting on all of the discussions we've had as we've thought strategically about our pathways to growth. And was so moved this morning to hear the individual staff members in every one of the areas do such an extraordinary job of giving us a sense of the momentum that we have as an organization. And then at lunch to have the opportunity to be able to honor and to rejoice with all of the honorees this year. I'm in my 8th year as a member of the Council of Presidents, and one of the extraordinary things that we as presidents of institutions have, if we have any longevity, is to see in certain areas in the institution its growth and the changes in a positive direction, particularly as it relates to the student and what they get from an institution. I've really had the same experience here with the NAIA. And every year that we come back and the growing momentum of all of you out there and the kind of support that we together have had to move this institution in such a positive way, centered on students, is an extraordinary thing, everyone. And after the meetings this morning at noon, I was just smiling, thinking about the progress that we've made together, all of us. And now the State of the Association, we have an opportunity to hear from our president and CEO, Jim Carr, will give us an opportunity to focus and to really get a sense of how all this gestalt comes together. So I'm asking you to join me in welcoming Jim to the stage to take us on this pathway and journey, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Les. Thank you. Well, before I get started, I do want to say a couple of words about Les. You all have got to know him a little bit over the last couple of years. He stepped in early in his tenure to replace Dean Thomas, and Les has just been an incredible leader for this association, I think, at the right time. Les is not only a wonderful leader, can be tough when he needs to be, but I think the thing that separates Les for me is that he's so caring and compassionate. And you can hear in his words just how much he believes and cares about this association, believes and cares about all of us. I know I've seen that in his support for me. And so all I can say to you is if you hadn't gotten a chance to get to know Les Purse, get to know him, because he's an incredible person, and we only have him through this calendar year, and then he'll be with us for another bit of time as past chair. But Les, thank you for your leadership and for all you do. Before I get into my prepared remarks, I wanted to just give you a couple of my observations around the convention. And the first thing I can say is, wow, what a great start we've had to the convention. I keep hearing from people that there's just this positive momentum that's going on. The staff can tell you that I tend to overanalyze things, so I'm just going to pledge to you that I'm just going to go with it. I don't know what the vibe is exactly and what it's doing, but Kristen, Kiki, maybe it's a thing, L5, or I don't know, but I think it's great to see that, and thanks to all of you who are pitching in, getting on board, and thinking about the ways in which we continue to create our niche and now look for pathways for growth. A couple of things from the reception last night. First, what a great setting that was. Beautiful weather, but also just great to look around and see all of you and fellowship and visiting with one another, and then continued over at our offices. A couple of specific things. The first one is I started to realize that my age is catching up with me. Literally not more than 2 minutes before I went up on the stage, I said to Brian Finucane and Ruth Stein, they're our analytics team, and I said, well, only two of you, so stay right here so I'll know where to point when I recognize you. 2 minutes later, I get on the stage and I forget to recognize them. So one thing I want to do is recognize them for their great work. You'll see in my presentation and throughout that the work of the analytics team is going to be critical to our growth and to our future. They're already kicking butt and doing great, so want to thank them. The other thing was I had a nice conversation with Barry Brandt and his wife, and if you don't know Barry, one of the nicest people on this planet, so just always great to visit with him. But he said something to me that I don't think I've heard from anybody else, but he said, you know, some of us thought you wouldn't still be at the NAIA, you'd be in politics. And Barry, after thinking about that, I don't know if that was a compliment or not. Politicians aren't all that well revered these days, but as nice as you are, I know there's a compliment in there somewhere. But when I was thinking about that was today at the luncheon, because I thought, well, if I were a politician, I've at least seen this on TV where you can yield some of your minutes to someone else. And how great would it be if I could yield 10 minutes to my friend from Idaho and continue to hear from Marty, or 10 minutes to my friend from Oklahoma and hear more from Jim Poteet, but all the other award winners. And wait, Jim, I'm only kidding. You don't have 10 more minutes if you're getting up back there to come to the front. But seriously, it's great to hear from those folks and just all the wonderful things they're doing. And sort of along those lines, I want to start today with sharing an unsolicited email with you that I received a few weeks ago. And it came from the father of a women's basketball student athlete at Baker University. I know we already shared some great things with one Baker student athlete, so it's kind of Baker University Day. But this email was really, it made me reflect and think about a lot of things. But it read, I wanted to inform you that my daughter Sierra played 1 year of basketball at an NCAA Division II school, then transferred to Baker. She will graduate this May with a degree in education. The main purpose of my email is to say that my daughter had an awesome experience at Baker and being an NAIA student athlete. She will finish with a 3.5 GPA and have lifelong experiences both in the classroom and on the court. He goes on to say, thank you for making the NAIA a great experience for my daughter. And so as I started to think about that email, you know, it's always great to get those nice emails. We all get the other side of that too, you know, the ones that say, well, how can you be a champion of character if my daughter wasn't an All-American, or how terrible were the referees at Branson, those kinds of emails that we get routinely. But when you get one of these, it makes you realize why you're in the business. But I also thought pretty quickly that he was thanking the wrong person. While it was nice to hear from him, the appreciation or the thanks really should go to Ben Lister, the women's basketball coach at Baker. Or Teresa Yetmer, I know is here, is a great young AD. And to Pat Long, their president, who has a great commitment to the student-athlete experience, but also to the wonderful faculty and staff at Baker. But I also thought that really the praise goes to everyone in this room, because together we've created the right approach to intercollegiate athletics. The NAIA is an amazing organization. You all get to see incredible people on a daily basis compete in the sports that they love. But you also get to see them grow into young adults and get an education. Or as one president said to me, we take teenagers and turn them into adults. Now, I have a little bit higher, or excuse me, turn them into people. Kind of botched the punchline there. But whatever you think about teenagers, I always come back to one thing. We're here for a very important reason. And so regardless of your respective views again on teenagers, I think we all can agree on one thing. It's a tremendous privilege to work in a setting like this. It keeps us young. It keeps us connected to something we love. And I think sometimes we forget about that. We see all the challenges of our programs, of our institutions. When we come to conference meetings or the NAIA convention, I think a lot of times we focus on the issues and the problems. We rarely talk about all the incredible things that are going on every day. So that's why we want to celebrate our young people, focus this organization towards an even more student-centered body. Our young people are a collective group of quality, compassionate, and competitive student athletes who truly are champions of character, and it's noticed by others.
I think sport can teach us the importance of teamwork, the importance of effort paying off.
There's something special about the American kid. They grow up, they love to compete. It's in their heart, and you have a very captive audience. So it's important to use sport to grow those people as leaders.
team building, chemistry, succeeding in challenges that are really, really difficult. I think those are the building blocks that really make you who you are, and sports gives you an awesome opportunity to gain those building blocks.
Traits of a champion of character are probably best summed up in being humble, understanding the importance of hard work.
You may or may not be a great athlete, but you always know that you want to excel, you always want to win the blue ribbon, you want to be a champion, and so it's that commitment to excellence, and it's the work effort that you have to put in to get there, and I think that carries forward in almost everything you do in life.
What the NAIA has figured out through all their character and leadership programs is, let's develop these players as men and women of character, and by doing so, these players will ultimately reach their ceiling.
Welcome to the inaugural
Champions of Character Foundation Awards Luncheon.
Celebrating the values
of those who make a difference in our community.
Encouraging you to join us
in developing future community leaders through character and sport.
Well, these three gentlemen in the video clearly recognize all the good we're doing. They are the leaders of our three professional sports teams here in Kansas City, and they agreed to co-chair our inaugural Champions of Character Luncheon. They did so because they believe in the NAIA, and they believe in our commitment to character. The luncheon was a huge success, especially as a first-time event, and it will continue to get stronger as we move into the future. It was also a good way to incorporate local support and inform the community about our NAIA members and all of your initiatives. And it's a model that we believe can be replicated in some of your communities. Now, as part of the luncheon, Tom Osborne, the legendary Nebraska football coach, congressman, and three-sport star at Hastings College, was our keynote speaker, and we also named our football championship trophy after him. The national media coverage from that was phenomenal. Our announcement was posted on 11 major sports networks and over 2,600 newspapers online. And more importantly to me, I know that Tom represents hundreds of thousands of former NAIA student athletes doing amazing things in this country and for our society. And I also believe there are many more Tom Osbornes currently being nurtured on your campuses, because our collective culture has been and will be critical to development of future leaders like Tom Osborne. I'm also pleased to announce today that Tom Watson has agreed to be our keynote speaker for our second annual Champions of Character Awards banquet. The 8-time major champion and one of the best golfers of all time, and by the way will be leading the Ryder Cup in September, understands the value of the NAIA and character-driven athletics just like these gentlemen do. With Tom now on board, I'm optimistic we can surpass the $200,000 we raised in 2013. But in addition to raising money, the luncheon also gives us another opportunity to showcase people of character both within the NAIA and outside of the NAIA. But in 2013 at the luncheon, without question, the showstoppers, the people who stole the hearts of everyone in that room, were Darcy, Mascotti, and Danielle Hoop, cross-country runners at Cumberlands University.
It's our conference meet, so it's kind of our biggest meet of the year. Sharon was a Lindsey Wilson runner. We'd known each other for a long time, and she is a sweetheart. She's absolutely adorable. You would never want anything bad to happen to her in a race, ever. And that just happened to be the case for this race.
We were 2.5 miles into it, and Darcy and I were in second and third, and Sharon was in first. We knew that she had gone the wrong way because we could barely still see her. She was still pretty far in front of us.
She still came in third place at the finish, but I came in first and Danielle came in second. Immediately we just go, no! We like both literally did this motion with our arms.
We didn't want the credit for first and second because we knew that's not what it really was.
Well, I'm very proud of our girls. You know, you can't help but be proud. Anytime someone does the right thing, no matter what. In our day and age now, it's everybody out for themselves mostly. And I think it's just, we're teaching the kids the wrong thing when we do something like that. We need to teach them, yeah, you want to win. You want to be the best. You should strive to break a record. But remember, you know, the lifestyle you live is the most important thing of all.
It was weird that a bunch of people would come up and ask us, like, why would you do that? Because it was just like an automatic, like as soon as we finished, it was like, we need to do this. It's a great honor to have even been nominated for an award like this. Winning it was like, whoosh!
We're like, this is a national award, so we were just amazed when Coach came down to practice and announced it in front of the whole team that Darcy and I had gotten this award, and we run our races together, we finish together, and having got this award together just tops the cake.
I can tell you there weren't too many dry eyes in the house in Kansas City when we had these two young ladies with us back in November. These two young women clearly exemplify all that is right in sport and in the NAIA. And it's an honor to have them in our membership because they certainly exemplify respect, responsibility, integrity, sportsmanship, and servant leadership. In that one story, these two young women demonstrated all 5 core values, and they upheld the virtues of champions of character. Our Champions of Character program continues to positively affect our coaches and student athletes, and as more parents, more community and business leaders discover the program, I continue to be amazed at how they embrace our established values in competition and apply them in life. What's also key to the student athlete experience are our 23 national championships, and you heard some from Eric Olson this morning about those. 16% of NAIA student athletes get the opportunity to participate in national championships, compared to only 11% in NCAA Division II. Our championship staff, in tandem with our marketing and communications team, they've been working diligently to improve the experiences of our student athletes by consulting with our host sites to gain media attention, attract more fans, and add even more excitement to the events. As you also heard this morning, we've started a relationship with ESPN3 to bring our championships to the dominant media sports outlet. So more fans, more families, more fellow students can watch student athletes compete at the highest levels in their sports. And as people watch this, every viewer takes away an impression of the NAIA. So we're working hard to not only build the visibility, but also improve the impression and perception of the NAIA. We're also looking at more ways to make video streaming of all events higher quality, cost-effective, and more readily available. At our championships, we also continue to create special student-focused events and activities such as the D1, D2 Men's All-Star Game that was held on Saturday of our D1 Men's Championship right across the street in Kansas City. We also, during that, showcased the talents in a 3-point contest and in a dunk contest. And what was really special about that is the online voting and the social media energy that our student athletes and marketing team created went viral. And you know you made it today when something goes viral. And the dunk contest by winner Tyler Inman from Southwestern Christian, and that winning dunk and the video of it has been viewed by almost 500,000 viewers through YouTube. Pretty incredible. I know as a former basketball player, I'm pretty jealous of hops like that I never had. And we're actively using social media in many other ways to gain exposure. Again, our marketing and communication team has opened new platforms of engagement with our current and our prospective student athletes on a 24/7 basis. Social media has to be a large part of our marketing plan going forward, and this event exemplifies how powerful that reach can be to your customers. Our conferences are also deeply integrated with our championships, and they also continue to gain strength and efficiencies crucial to the success of the entire organization. We have quality commissioners who are supported by strong presidential leadership. As many of you know, together they recently implemented a conference evaluation tool that will allow our conferences to focus on areas of improvement and see how they compare to others in the association. Just last month, I had the opportunity to be with some of our new commissioners here in Kansas City during the tournament. I was really impressed by the quality of the new commissioners, and so I know those guys together with all of our new commissioners, including Lori Thomas, so we can't keep saying gentlemen now and guys. And Lori's going to be our first female customer pretty soon, the first female commissioner pretty soon. All of them together are looking to build upon the strengths of their members and in their region. And because of that, it's important for us to know the challenges that they face on a daily, monthly, yearly basis. So that's why we've begun our Summit initiative that you heard a little bit about, where we go out to members and we listen and we learn. We need to know about your issues and what challenges you face. We started that last fall thanks to the idea that Keith Spataro out at Menlo came up with. We went to Menlo College last fall. 40 representatives from the California Pacific, Golden State, Cascade, and Frontier conferences came together. And then last week, we took the show on the road up to Leavenworth, just north of here, where we visited with members of the Kansas Collegiate, Heart of America, Midlands Collegiate, Great Plains, and North Star conferences. And again, had over 40 representatives there from those schools. Both summits were extremely successful. We held open discussions on a number of topics, including rules, regulation, membership, and of course, the future of the NAIA. And this is meant to be an ongoing initiative. We'll be at St. Francis in Illinois in May to visit with a number of conferences in that region, and we certainly plan to continue to have those throughout 2014. So if you're interested in one coming to your part of the country, please let us know. So now we want to celebrate all of these successes and continue to strengthen our core around character-driven athletics. We also must look for opportunities to grow. We're fueled by a number of things: our solid financial position, technology in our new platform that can be extended from the Eligibility Center, and also the 90-plus partners that we've created in our last few years of work. We also are going to have some opportunities that are going to present themselves from the external pressures that are being placed on the NCAA and in higher education. And I'd be happy to talk in another setting about the long list of challenges facing the NCAA, from the Ed O'Bannon case to the unionization of student athletes at Northwestern, the potential breakaway of the Big Five conferences, and go on and on down the list. And while we certainly want to continue to monitor those and take advantage of opportunities when they arise, we're choosing to focus on us, on our association. Because regardless of what happens elsewhere, we need to secure our own future through growth. So Pathways for Growth, it's not just a convention theme. It's critical for the NAIA and all of our members, all of your student athletes. Today we're going to start a path together, a path to become an even greater student-centered association. Not an association that talks about it, but one where the association works with you to find more quality young people and help enhance their experience while they're at your school. Last fall, the Council of Presidents enthusiastically endorsed a process to learn more about our customers, your student athletes, and how we can better serve them. We've spent considerable time discussing the directions we can go and the structure we need to get there. Starting with this session and a session that John Levins will lead tomorrow, you're going to learn more about what this growth looks like for the NAIA. It really is a path worth taking, and I think you'll be excited by it. But please understand that when I talk about growth, it's not just growth for growth's sake. It's not growth to create a larger national office staff. It's not growth for a larger retained surplus. Our job as an association is to meet your needs, meet the needs of our members. Our opportunity lies in creating more value for you. So when I talk about growth of the NAIA, this growth is designed to benefit you. As we've been thinking about growth and putting a strategy together, your challenges, your opportunities are always at the forefront of these strategic conversations. When it comes to NAIA athletics programs, most challenges can be grouped into one of three areas. First, creating additional resources. Second, finding more exposure for your schools and your programs. And third, enrolling more quality student athletes. Our growth plan is designed to assist you in these three key areas. So let's look first at creating additional resources. While the data that we've shared with you over time and at this convention clearly demonstrate the value of the NAIA, it's also clear that you want and need more from us. Whether it's additional championship reimbursement, more effective in recruitment, more effective retention and recruitment of members, or expanding upon the brand. These are the primary priorities that are often expressed to me, but there are others. Well, the only way to have an effect on these challenges is through new resources. So as we create new initiatives that we'll be telling you about over time, making money has to be at the top of the list. Again, not to benefit the national office, but instead to give us resources so that we can invest in ways to benefit you, our member institutions, and most importantly, in the end of the day, your student athletes. So I'm asking you today to get comfortable with making money. We have to have the resources to compete, and we know the competition's out there. We have to be able to compete with the NCAA and NCAA Division II because they're coming after our members. So let's talk a little bit about how we're competing for members. After all, that tends to be the elephant in the room in a lot of these meetings. Well, if the 6 new members that are going before the COP tomorrow come into membership, we'll stand at 260 members. When I started as president back in 2006, we were at 277. So while I'm not happy with these numbers, we certainly want to get them going back in the right direction. It's not the gloom and doom that is often talked about. Having said that, I don't think any of us are happy to lose a single member. Today, the NAIA membership is an incredible value because of our cost-effective approach to athletics. We deliver high-caliber competition at a reasonable cost. We allow more autonomy to you to structure your athletics departments the way you see fit, and that includes less bureaucracy and fewer requirements. And as it currently stands, when you compare that to the cost of operating an athletics program at Division II, it costs about twice as much over there, no matter what level of NAIA or NCAA Division II you are. So the data is there, the value is there. Our biggest challenge on the membership front has been the inability to educate decision makers in higher education related to this value. And we need dedicated resources to fund direct NAIA membership sales efforts, boots on the ground armed with clear, compelling information related to the tangible benefit, the tangible value of being an NAIA member. And fortunately, the COP has committed some of our eligibility center net revenues for just this cause, to support our plans to combat the marketing campaigns of NCAA Division II and their conferences. We also are committed to become more of a marketing and sales organization and have changed the national office structure to do just that and be consistent with this commitment. But once again, we must find the additional resources to implement the necessary tactics to make sure all of you understand the value of the NAIA, i.e. retention, but then go out into the bigger world of higher education and make sure that those outside of the NAIA understand those benefits as well. And new resources are important in all of our growth areas, just like membership. It's also important on the branding front. That's a little bit dangerous in a context like this to get into branding because it's a pretty complex topic, complex issue, complex strategies around it. But I do want to take a few minutes to give you my perspective on branding as it relates to the NAIA. When it comes to our association, I believe the most important thing about branding is how does being a member of this association help your institutional brand? And if the key is helping you with your institutional brand, then our focus going forward should be to extend your brand in places that are most important to you. Those places where your customers, prospective student athletes, reside. Places where they engage and communicate. So as a result, the focus of our marketing efforts in this area are now and will be on your customers. Changes in higher ed have placed more emphasis, more importance on the role of athletics on each and every campus in the NAIA. With the trend in high school graduation rates or graduates remaining flat, in some parts of the country even declining over the next decade, and also the traditional cost of college education continuing to rise, athletics will play an even more critical role to getting the right students to your campuses. And today I'm proud to announce or proud to share with you that our track record is good. It's good on the enrollment front. The structure of our NAIA rules and our friendly recruiting and JV, ability to create JV teams, have all helped NAIA members grow their athletics programs and enrollment on campus at a much quicker pace than your counterparts at NCAA Division II. In the past 5 years alone, NAIA student athlete participation has grown by 30%, 30% increase for student athlete participation compared to only 16% at NCAA Division II. When we move over to overall enrollment at your schools has increased by 17% versus 8% at schools in NCAA Division II. So this myth that somehow if you're in NCAA Division II, your enrollment problems are going to be solved and you're going to get more student athletes and better quality student athletes is just not true. So enrollment through athletics is a strength. It's also an opportunity. So my view is that we should all work together to maximize that. As I previously mentioned, one of the roles of an association is to leverage or elevate the strengths of its members. So attracting quality student athletes to your campuses has been successful. So let's elevate this area together and do so in a way that helps the financial strength of your institutions. If we do this right, we also can help your coaches find more quality athletes for their programs. So as we think about helping you find quality students and quality athletes, we have at our disposal a lot of knowledge that we've gained through recent research projects and the work of the newly created Analytics Center. And I want to share a few of those things with you. First, we know hundreds of thousands of young people are looking to continue their athletic careers in college. They're looking for an opportunity to continue to play. We also know that kids and their parents place value on athletic scholarships, many of them seeing more value, or at least cachet, in an athletic scholarship than they do in an academic scholarship. We can all draw our own conclusions about whether that's a good thing or not, but that appears to be a fact. We also know that people believe that the NAIA is high caliber athletics, and that the vast majority of current student athletes have incredible experiences on your campuses, and they grow in character at NAIA institutions. And then lastly, we also know that we continue to get great feedback from you, our members. So you may be asking, well, what are you going to do with all this information? Well, I'm glad you've asked. The COP has approved a growth strategy that is built around the following principles. We are adopting an analytics mindset that I've talked about before to better understand student and member needs. Secondly, we're focusing on a sales and marketing effort to better communicate the value of the NAI to prospective members and current members. We're going to continue to extend our technology to innovate and grow. We're also going to reinvest dollars into the organization to better serve members and students. And finally, but certainly not least of all, we're going to do all these things with a renewed commitment to student centrism. We must create a unique and compelling experience for student athletes. I think the important thing to me is we need to do that based on their preferences. So to support these principles, the newly created Analytics Center is learning more about student athletes and making decisions, and their decision-making process, And our initial research has been very positive. We're finding out that student athletes like their experiences and are overwhelmingly satisfied with the NAI and with you. One recent survey showed that 76% of your student athletes would recommend to a prospective student athlete that they go to your campus. That's almost unheard of. Marketing companies would love to have that kind of data. And in turn, they also would make the same decision to return to your campus and play sports if they had to make the decision all over again. That's powerful affirmation from your student athletes. But yet they're also telling us some things that we didn't know. They're telling us that the competition to recruit them is much more intense than people in our membership understand. While our coaches believe that on average 4 schools are recruiting the student athletes that they're recruiting, the reality is, and what student athletes are telling us is, they're considering on average 11 schools. So that's a huge difference in understanding about the recruiting game. We've also confirmed that more than 80%, it's no surprise to any of you, that more than 80% of our coaches are expected to drive enrollment through their athletics programs. And as we move much deeper into our research and current potential student athletes, we look forward to learning more through student advisory boards and focus groups. We talked earlier this morning about bringing NAI student athletes into our office so we can really understand them better and what they want, to help us learn how we might improve the experiences for them and for those yet to come. It also gives them the opportunity to rethink and reshape the intercollegiate athletic experience. Because if we really are to become student-centric, shouldn't they, our student athletes, be at the center? In fact, by definition, don't they have to be at the center? So you can see we're beginning to learn more about you and your customer. With this market research as a starting point, we already have a better grasp on ways in which we can support you. And I'm pleased to announce that we're starting several new initiatives that are consistent with our findings and this growth strategy. Again, John Levins is going to lead a session tomorrow that will give you some more detail around these, and I hope you'll be there. Because we need you to help shape the vision for the future. We need you in this process. We need your coaches. We need current and prospective student athletes. We need all of our stakeholders for whom we're building the pathway, our pathway for growth. So let's talk a little bit about this pathways concept. What is pathways? What will pathways mean to you? How will it help your institution? How will it help all of us as the NAIA? Well, at the core of this concept is a pretty simple belief. We believe strongly that there needs to be a clearer path for students to find their way to NAIA athletics, to the NAIA college experience, to you. And that path needs to be consistent with the way students interact with the process, and importantly, in sync with the way your coaches interact with them. There needs to be a progression for students. Through the earliest stages, there needs to be awareness about the opportunities to simply play college sports and play in the NAIA. But they also need to learn how college recruiting works, financial aid, admissions, and then have the opportunity to let colleges and coaches know that they're out there. And finally, to get feedback, get honest feedback, and connect with coaches in a meaningful way. And here's one of the great things. This pathway is already supported by our rules, which encourage relationships between athletes and coaches, from the first contact in recruiting all the way through the 4 years of coach-mentor relationship. And it really sets us apart. It's a unique feature of the NAIA that is going to allow some of these things to happen. We already know that it means a lot to mom and dad to have this coach-student-athlete relationship in the recruiting process. And you really won't see it anywhere else. We're beginning the Pathways concept with a pilot initiative that we're calling NAIA Showcase, where NAIA coaches can watch, evaluate, and recruit student-athletes in action. 54% of our current student-athletes said they would have attended a showcase like this if it had been available or offered when they were looking at colleges. And an overwhelming 87% of our coaches are on board with the idea. So we're making it happen. In East Peoria, Illinois, June 20th through the 22nd, we'll have 1,500 prospective student athletes in 5 sports go through combine-type drills, and some of the sports actually show off their talents in competition. The distinguishing feature is this. At least 150 coaches will be on site where they can interact with these young people. Again, because our rules allow that. And as a result, the NAIA becomes the only athletics association that offers an official event with professionally administered athletic assessments, coaches on site, and the eligibility center information there for those prospective student athletes. And the exciting part to me is that the showcase is just the beginning. It's the beginning of a pipeline, a pathway, where prospective student athletes enter. And it's the start of a renewed commitment to becoming the student-athlete-centric organization. And it's also the first of many initiatives that will attract students, garner new resources, and place us in a position to attract new members. So as the worlds of higher education and athletics continue to change, we have tremendous opportunity. But it won't be easy. To create the future success that we all want, we must have the courage to challenge the future. To challenge the present. We have to have the courage to challenge the status quo that is intercollegiate athletics right now. We must create an association that is demonstrably different. I believe we've outlined a path that will lead us not only to something that's different, but a place where people will say, I want to be a part of that. And one that is grounded in student-athlete centrism and provides a clear pathway for prospective student-athletes to your campuses. And all I'm asking you today is simply take the first step with us. We want you to join us on this path. As I mentioned before, we need you to partner with us so we can understand the right approaches and reach a greater number of young people like Darcy and Danielle and Sierra that I mentioned in the email. So they will know about the opportunities to continue to play the sport they love and do so in the NAIA. Do so in a competitive, character-driven culture where you embrace them and foster their growth. Because in the NAIA, every student-athlete matters. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jim. And again, tomorrow, John Levins will have a session in here at 1:45 called What Does Growth Look Like? We'll get more into the detail. But again, I just want you to know that the entire NAIA staff at the direction of the COP and yourselves are very excited about these initiatives. And again, it's for you.